doing like Instagram and doing this all at once. Yeah, I don't do that.
No, we're definitely live. Okay.
There it is. It says live. It says it right on the corner. You're good to go.
I'd like to see myself before I start this so I can see what everyone's doing. Okay, I think we're happening. Yeah, we're live on Facebook. Great. Yay! Okay, welcome everybody. Jenny Lyon here. I'm very, very excited to do this. This is actually the first show since the so known lockdown that we're having here in the UK. It's been about a week. So the reason, for those who know me already, you know why I'm doing this. I'm doing this show because I want to bring more higher, consciousness, levels of light into people's living rooms, and just expose them to some interesting guests and expose them to some interesting, highly conscious ideas. That is, today we're doing parenting, and I'm just really passionate about it. Call it the Energetic Mastery Show because I believe that through energetic mastery, which means that we're fully aligned with mind, body, and soul, with our purpose and all those things, we become masters of our life. And I call it energetic mastery. So today we're going to talk about.
I just got total shivers. That's bang on.
Energetic mastery on parenting. And I think everybody in this world who has children would love to know what that looks like. So today what we're going to do, we're going to talk to our expert guest here, Christina Fletcher, who I found on Facebook. She found me. I think I put a post up, didn't I? And I
think you did. Yeah. I would. Oh yes, I have to meet her. Definitely.
Yes. And couldn't it be more apt at the moment when everyone has to homeschool and we have an expert here? So
there you
go. So what I want to make sure. Hi Emma. Emma, she's on here. What I want everybody to know is that today we would love questions, because usually people do ask some questions, but we would absolutely love your questions today, because I think everyone who has their children at home and who are not used to this find it challenging at times. I'm sure, and usually if you homeschool, you're also allowed to go out. So normal times you can just, you can spend half of your day outside usually, but obviously at the moment this is not so possible. So we would love questions. Please, I'm going to check my phone actually. So as we go, I want you to put the questions in the comments. I'm just going to make sure I got it up here on my phone properly so I can get all the questions. And I will feed them back to Christina so she doesn't have to worry about the tech.
Please, thank you very much.
So what I'm going to do, why don't you introduce yourself, darling, and tell us more about yourself and spiritually awake parenting.
Absolutely. That would be an absolute pleasure. Well, my name is Christina Fletcher, and I work over at spirituallyawareparenting.com. I'm a coach, an energy healer. I have a membership group, and I am passionate about making sure that parents can, exactly like you say, be true to themselves as they parent, as well as acknowledge their kids as the true spiritual beings that they are, because we are all spirits kind of banging around this whole thing together, building relationships. And it really does focus on relationships versus the roles of parenting. Mm-hmm. I have 3 kids. My eldest is 17. Then I had my second daughter 10 months later, and she is 16. Wow. And then I have a son who is 10. And we've homeschooled the whole journey. I kind of went in thinking this is school at home, like 12 years ago when my daughters were 5, and we kind of sat there and I had the whole chalkboard and I had the workbook and I had it all organized and I was bang on all excited. And one daughter loved it. The other daughter literally had her head in her workbook saying, I hate my life. I can't do this. I went, oh, okay. This is not going to be the easy journey I thought. So now we navigate through 3 different ways of learning, 3 different processes, and developing everyone's passions, making sure everyone knows that they learn differently and that is their own inner language, and everyone has a right to follow their bliss. And And happily, our eldest actually just got accepted into Chesterfield College, where she's going to be going in the fall if we get out of lockdown. And she got
house, yeah.
if we're allowed out of the house, she'll be going to college in the fall. And she got accepted with flying colors, and it was just a beautiful validation of listening to that kind of inner calling of following her bliss. So yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So okay, so prior to this lockdown, I had a load of questions on parenting in general, but I think at the moment, I think I'd like to find out more about just some practical, like if you can give 3 very simple practical tips for people at home with their children right now. And I suppose it can be very different depending on the age group. So I don't know how you would want to categorize that, because obviously if you have a 1-year-old, it's going to be very different from an 11-year-old. But see how you can give some practical tips for the viewers, because they would probably really appreciate that.
Absolutely. The first step to remember with everything is actually across the board with any age, and that is to find your own balance first. And that doesn't have to take a long period of time. No parent has the 20 minutes to an hour for meditation, and that's why I work with parents. It has to be instantaneous. So my favorite tool that I usually offer my clients is to focus on your feet. Anyone who does any energy work knows that where attention goes, energy flows. And right now, everyone's feeling huge pressure in their heads. Everybody's thoughts are swirling, tension's building. Everyone's trying to figure things out. So all that energy is just like, right? So it's like, get into your body, ground, root, focus on your feet. This can be done numerous times a day, in the middle of any tantrum, in the middle of absolutely anything. Focus on your feet. Get fully into your ground, fully present.
I could absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
It's an amazing thing that all of a sudden you go, okay, wait, something's happening outside of you, and your energy immediately goes, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. So your head spins about how to fix it. Don't worry about fixing it. Ground. Invite that energy flow in so that you feel rooted in your moment. Remembering that
everyone can do this.
Everyone can do that. Anyone, absolutely everyone. Wiggle your toes. Imagine like roots going into the earth. Whatever is going to draw your energy down, do that. Also remembering that your kids are feeling the same thing right now. And that again spans all ages. Right now, everyone's sensing this deep energy movement, because that's really what's happening right now. There's such a huge shift in the planet right now. And that can be a newborn baby all the way up to a teen. Everyone is feeling this whoosh, and they can't explain it. They don't know what it is. So focus on their feet as well. You can do that. I'm always encouraging parents, hold your baby's feet. If your kid's in a meltdown, put your hands beside their feet. Help them root, help them ground.
I love this. I mean, look, I ground every day. And my kids are pretty grounded, as in like, well, they're a bit crazy, but like I can see they're fine. If they're not, I hold them down energetically. But that is just amazing.
It makes a world of difference. The shift that can occur when you ground your kids. I worked with my niece, who is actually, she has Down syndrome, and she's also nonverbal and autistic. And I would do work with her, and I would literally go down on the ground and just put my hands beside her feet, and you would just watch as she would just go into her body and just get so present. Right now, this is what everyone needs. So although it's not related to homeschooling or any of this, this is a vital step that everyone needs to do, because it's going to bring them into their moment. Okay?
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so does that count as 1 or 2? That's the question.
That's grounding. No, because what you said there is really, really important, that everyone is feeling this shift. Everyone, even if it's the cat, the dog, the baby, the teenager, we all feel.
It's so vital too. And the thing is that no matter what age you're dealing with, I mean, right now I'm dealing across the spectrum just in my own house. My daughter, she came up, she's like, why am I so tired? So I talked to her about it. Well, yeah, because you're actually energetically doing work right now. So give yourself that time. That whole idea of how everyone is actually receiving this huge energy shift is such a valid point of the whole homeschooling element of what everyone's experiencing right now. I keep hearing about schools dishing out all these massive school projects and all of this homework. And I just keep saying, everyone, don't assume the role of teacher. That's not what the point is right now. As much as possible, offer your kids a space that they can express their emotions. You know, if your kids are between a certain age of like 3 all the way up to 9 or 10, talk to them about feelings, get them to draw emotions. How are they feeling right now? Let it be an explosion of creativity. Let them really get their senses into their moment. Focus on senses. So focus on their sensual experience, because that's what everyone's going to not only ground in, they're also going to really feel that presence and also exploration. They're allowed to explore.
Yes.
Be
Absolutely.
honest with your kids. Tell them, I've never been in a pandemic before. I don't know what this looks like, but it's okay. We're safe. We're in this together.
Yes.
We are in this together. Be honest with them. Don't think you need to know all the answers, because you really, really don't. This is about relationship and connection with your kids.
Absolutely. And I saw, you know, my 5-year-old, he's got homework, he's got a load of stuff, and we've done a little bit for the activity purpose of it, and he quite likes, you know, the maths and things, so, you know, he likes the tasks, but not so much my daughter. I'm giving her kind of free range in the sense that you know, she's 11, she's going to be 11, but, you know, I said do a little bit every day just to keep, you know, you to going, but I haven't really pushed on the big you know, tasks, because I'm thinking we'll get through that. And, you know, I actually want them to actually be with us and be creative themselves as well. So I so agree with that. And if you have a garden, you know, obviously let them out.
Yeah, well, and really get out yourself. Make this about, like, I can't, it's so difficult because right now so many people are experiencing this so totally different. Like everyone's experiencing it differently from one another, right? Some people don't work from home and they're not used to this pace, and the loss is so great. At the same time, so you almost hesitate saying this, but there's so much great opportunity here, and it's so vital to seize that opportunity. Like nothing is going to be the same, and there's allowed space for grief for the fact that nothing's going to be the same. But also, I look at my clients, and there's we keep kind of pulling up these things of, that's funny, weren't you actually wanting to manifest more time with your family? Oh, that's interesting. Weren't you kind of manifesting? Like there was wanting to change positions or change jobs. So many manifestations are coming up through this, just not in the way that people wanted. So seize the opportunity. Go outside with your kids. Act silly. Give yourself the freedom to ask questions. If your kids have a pile of homework and you really feel like they need to be doing things, if they don't like the way they're doing it, look for other ways of doing it. Bake a cake, you know? Yeah. One daughter of mine, honestly, we did baking for math. We did building skills. We did different, like, you know, home ec situations, and it all tied in. And then she went back to the school because she went, oh yeah, now that all makes sense. Why was I learning this? You know, connect, but you're connecting as a relationship first. And that's where it gets exciting.
Like let them thrive in what they love doing, you know, let them thrive in this. I mean, I'm just giving you an example here. So my husband is a carpenter, so he is a little bit of a doer, right? So he can't sit at home and do nothing. So he is building things. Guess what? My son is like a glue on him, and he's teaching him. I mean, you know, safely. He's only 5. Teaching him things, and he will help him and you know, go and get things, and you know, put, you know, whatever my husband is asking him to do, you know, help him. Absolutely. So this is more important, you know, skill, I think, than
absolutely. Well, and really, because that's the key to homeschooling, even in normal times, that I discovered that I didn't want my kids to know the ABCs just because they had to know the ABCs. I wanted them to love learning. I wanted them to understand that if they were interested in something, they could learn it for their entire lives. That it wasn't like, oh yeah, you're 18, you stop learning now. It's not about that. It's about, oh my goodness, if you find that interesting, let's look into it. Why is that interesting? What is exciting about that? Why are they doing that? You don't know what's going to unfold. And that's the same with this time. Like nobody knows what's going to come from this time. So if we're connected with our kids and listening, you know, so take time to listen and learn from them.
So was that 3 things? Have we done?
I think so.
Was that?
I will merge.
Just looking at what's happening, it's almost like the feeling I have as a light worker, because I get so many downloads, and I'm sure you do as well, is I just look at it as a restructuring.
Yeah.
Just things are just restructuring. We're
Yeah.
just going to relearn a few things
Yeah.
and do them slightly differently.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more successful emotionally
Yeah.
for us, and more successful for us connected wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go back to basics.
Yeah.
That is what I feel a lot. And that is actually going to be more rewarding than anything else. So the success, I mean, this is what I feel, because I am quite driven person, but I look at success as the joy and the happiness and the connectedness and the the beauty, what we can create together because as families now. What can we bring in? That
Absolutely.
is everything.
Absolutely.
Do you not? I mean, obviously you agree with this, but yes, and I'm hoping that some of the viewers agree. If you agree with this, what maybe we should ask the people watching, what is your best? What's the best thing that's happened so far for you? See if they anyone might. I don't know if anyone will want to say anything, but
that's a very interesting question to ask. That's a really
best thing that's happened to you since you have been in lockdown with your children.
Yeah.
We'll see if anyone answers. We'll see. What's the best? I know it's kind of not so different for you, but you've been locked in. I suppose it's a bit different. What's the best for you that's happened so far?
You know what? I think even though so much of my life is almost, and with my kids, has felt like self-isolation because, we lived in the country in Canada. There was a lot of kind of locking away. We came to the UK as a way of kind of getting out into the world. So I thought that, that was going to happen. It's like sweet irony. But the energy shift, what has really come in is a sense of slowing down. And I totally agree with your when I've been downloading, I kind of was writing in my journal, that's what has been flowing in, is really just a question of when I've been doing, and also when I've been doing any healing work, there's been an amazing sense of a veil lifting. I think spiritual energy is flowing through everything so beautifully. And there's a deep, deep connection with us with something so much greater. And I know just personally with my kids, all right, a little side note, my daughters decided to come up to me and I mean, here's the work that I do. And they came up the other day. It's like, so what do you think of witchcraft and setting up altars and stuff? And out of nowhere, they decided they picked up on this energy and now they're setting up their own sacred corners and they're doing all of these things, which we've never talked about because I've always let them discover that on their own.
Yes.
It's been this open, I've always told them, when you get the call, you'll get the call.
Yeah.
And I'm watching as this is unfolding. And so even my kids are now sensing they're tapping in.
They're remembering.
Yes, beautifully said. And they're plugging into it because the energy is so pure right now.
Yeah. And there is so much available for the kids, and they, if you just allow them, I suppose, as parents, as spiritually aware parents, if you just allow to really use your intuition with them as well, like really tap into them. What is it? What are they telling me something important here? Because they will say things that is very true and that we kind of know, and we're like, okay, they know. Do you know what I mean? It's like they see the truth, right? So just allowing them really to lead you sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I always suggest that everyone always make sure they ground themselves first, so you create that open connection with your kids so you can receive what they might be trying to tell you, and at the same time you can hear when they're upset or when they need something from you. You'll be able to sense it so much greater. You'll be able to see behind the action, right? Like, because that's the thing, all actions that your kids kind of explode in front of you, it's so not what we think it is. It's so not what they're presenting. They're
telling us something.
Yeah, exactly. There is a fear there is a worry there's a stress there. Kids are probably acting out so much more right now simply because they're scared, and they are sensing this uneasiness. So it's creating that space for them and really making sure you're grounded, so you're a solid space for them. You are security, you are safety. And even in vulnerability, you are that safety. Even if you could say, yeah, I know it's kind of scary out there. Aren't we lucky that in our house, we can control the energy of our house? We are in charge of how we feel in here. It can be out there unstable, but here we are stable and safe, and we can do things to make that feel better. So yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, the other one I was reflecting over was because because my son would say, oh, I want to come to the shop, I want to come, I want to do this, and I'm like, well, we can't do it because of the lockdown, because of the virus. And I keep saying because of the virus, and I'm like, I'm imprinting him here now about a virus. Well, and I'm thinking, how can I say that differently without imprinting him about this? Because we're all getting imprinted by it.
Yeah.
And I've thought about, I don't really know actually, because I'm not putting any fear into it. I'm just saying, well, because of the virus, we can't, they're not allowing us into shops. So maybe a good idea to what to say about that, because if I keep saying that for 6 months to him, it's going to be like something, right?
Yeah. Well, and no matter what first of all, you have to ask yourself what you want him to believe about the virus. Around here, we're making sure that the focus is on that. It's not about hear everyone getting sick. We kind of try to say, don't focus on sickness. Where attention goes, energy flows. Yeah. It's more about making sure that we're keeping other people safe. So therefore, it's all right to say, keep it light as well as on the same motivation. So rather than just using the word virus, so that word becomes such a trigger word over time, it's like virus for the rest of his life. I cannot go outside.
It's like
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it can just be, because we want to make sure that everything is a safe environment. So everyone's just saying not so many people going out, so we can only go out a couple at a time. We're actually just keeping it so that only I go out or one other person goes out, or so you just kind of explain the situation rather than any trigger words. So I would say don't replace it, just open it up a little bit. So it's like, and you can kind of say, it's the whole lockdown. Yeah.
And I suppose to smaller children, you can say, those little bugs that jump from person to person, we need to make sure that they don't.
Yeah.
Just kind of use, a different language to younger children so that they also go, okay, well, I got that, I understand about the germs.
Yeah.
We've learned about that.
And I think it's really vitally important to remind children, just to create their stability, that this isn't about them getting sick. This really isn't affecting kids. And I think it's really important that they know that. It's more of saying, we can't see your grandparents because, they are older, or even not even driving at home. Even just sometimes people can get sick easier. So therefore we're just protecting other people. So it becomes out about that. Also, if your conversations are open with your kids about spiritual life, then you can say the world is slowing down. I know that for a lot of children that I'm working with their parents, we're actually putting more focus on letting the earth heal rather than about the sickness. A lot of times kids relate to nature more. So talking to them about saying, this is an amazing thing. The world has taken a pause. And because we're all staying inside, the world is healing. So you pull up the videos of dolphins returning to canals or about monkeys walking different streets. And you say, look at this. This is an amazing thing. We are healing the earth. Yeah. And when you shift the attention to that, suddenly staying inside takes a totally different responsibility. It's an act of a healer. And all kids are naturally healers. They want to be healers. It's what they understand. Yeah. So, you can shift it around so it doesn't become what the media is suggesting. You can kind of pivot around.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't let them watch any news or anything. We're just, it's almost like we're creating our own little universe here at home and making it fun and making it, really, it's just really nice, actually. I mean, I must say, it's like I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I'll say that in a few months, but I actually really do. It's really great.
It's amazing how many parents, though, when you think of it, how often do kids get off school in the summer? And by the end of it, the kids have de-schooled. So they're out of the kind of school routine. And everyone's like, I talk to so many parents in the fall and they're like, it's so too bad. Because as soon as everyone's back a week, they're all of a sudden back to kind of talking in a certain tone. And there's there's certain things that come back in. And they're like, it's just in the summer. Everyone's just we kind of get into a routine.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting an expanded version of right now, which is just really, really transformational for kids. Like, this is a transformational time that they're going to create. This is how they're going to understand their family. They're going to see it as safe and connected.
Another idea I've been thinking of, because they do like different things, my children, and I'm actually going to allow a little bit more time, I've decided, to actually see what they really would love to do. So my daughter's very much into creative things. So I've said to her anyway, go on Amazon, have a look, see if there's anything you want to, start. I said to her, do you want to start knitting? And she was like, I'm not sure. Because I used to do that when I was about 10, 11. And the needling,
Yep.
I said, do you want to do it? And she's like, yeah, maybe. So she might do this. But I'm thinking, a few new things maybe that we can
You know what? We've actually talked a lot about that, because I keep reminding the kids that this is history. For the rest of their lives, they're going to be telling their grandkids about the time that they were in lockdown. So we keep kind of saying, well, what do you want that time to look like? What do you want to remember it as?
Yes.
And it's not a bad thing to have, oh, I remember, that was when I learned how to bake, or that was when I learned how to knit, or that was when and actually, you know what, me personally, I even actually went online and I ordered an embroidery kit, and I'm sitting there embroidering while I watch TV or do stuff. And I'm sitting there like a little.
I've been thinking of doing the same. I haven't done it yet. I haven't ordered it yet, but I was thinking actually about the embroidery, because I'm more kind of like them. I used to do this when I was younger.
That was me too. I used to do it before I met my husband. I used to travel around, even in the UK. I would be on a National Express bus and I'd be sitting there with my embroidery as I looked out the window. And, it always reminds you of like Mists of Avalon or something, when the old sorceresses were actually like the priestesses would be doing their knitting or doing their spinning. And your physical activity allows yourself to float, right? There's a definite consistency to that. So I pulled out my embroidery and I brought it out after like God knows how many years. And I sat and I do it. And now my kids are like, I really want a kit as well. So even my son is like, I want to do that. They've always done, even 5, at 5 years old, they were doing like French knitting, where you kind of, make the long cables. Yeah. So we were making long snake ropes at 5 and everyone was sitting there French knitting. So my son was saying he wanted to go back to that, or we were talking about knitting, or there's an amazing, and actually, if you look at Waldorf education processes, even before 7, mostly kids are just doing handicrafts like that. And knitting will actually spark the same mental nerves or neural pathways as handwriting and math.
Yeah, because it's coordination and it's finding
it is.
out, and it's kind of, yep, absolutely.
It is. So you can be like, my kid is knitting, they're learning math.
They're learning math. So I'm just going to see if there is any questions there.
Sure.
Can't see any questions at the moment, but that's okay.
Sure.
So what about, okay, so we don't really know. I mean, we're talking a little about lockdown now, but maybe we should just talk about the different age groups with children, what's being in the house, maybe some practical tips again. So age, I don't know what the good ages are, 0 to 5, and then what, 5 to 10? And
well, there is kind of there are generalized ages, but I think the most important thing to remember, no matter what, is going all the way back to 0. Your children are spiritual beings who have just arrived, and they understand spirit more than they do physical. So even if you take 0 to even up to 5, life is about exploration and really asking yourself, what is this body doing, and why is it doing these things? And the curiosity stage of picking things up and feeling it, or even tasting it, or really understanding their senses. It's really about, what is this?
Exactly.
This is such a weird platform. Everything from, I always think watching babies at Christmas and watching them kind of see like a Christmas tree, and all of a sudden you're bringing in a tree, and all of a sudden you're doing all this stuff, and they're like, why would you do this? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Being human is so odd. So there's definitely that curiosity stage, which is, if you hold onto that for 0 all the way up to probably 3, 4, 5, and just keep that in the back of your mind, you're going to find it easier to find balance, because even if they're doing something they shouldn't do, you can pull it back to the fact that they're exploring, that it's out of curiosity, and you're seeing them as a spirit who's in this experience. And that's going to give grounded to you, because it's not going to be like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? It's really just about, let's explore something else. Not what you're getting into. Yeah.
Exactly. And then going up the ages a little bit. So
Hmm.
+5, you know, into sort of
After
before.
5, all the way up till about 9, it really is about expressing your own independence. It's really about saying, well, I've got this human thing down now. So
Yeah.
now that I'm a human, okay, I know my opinion and I know how this works. I really get this being human. And
Yeah.
so therefore that's the pushback, is
Yeah.
they'll be like, no, listen to me. Hey, I've got this down. I know how to be me.
Yeah.
After 9, between 9 and 14, it's usually going, actually, I have no idea how to be me because I've totally picked up all this other stuff and I don't know what to do about
Yeah.
it. So,
And I'm behaving so strange.
so what is this strange body? And the amount of opinions that kind of come in, all of a sudden you're more. I did an exercise with my kids at one point, and we talked about your biggest feeling that you didn't like. And at 7, it was all about not frustration of not knowing what to do with themselves. When they hit teens, it was all about embarrassment. They couldn't stand to feel embarrassed. And that really showed how once 9, 10, 11 hits, it all becomes about what other people are thinking.
I know. My daughter, she won't let me kiss her.
Nope.
Well, she will, but she'll be like, stop now.
Yeah.
Stop now.
Yeah, and it's funny because what they don't realize is people don't care less, like whether, but it's all trying to figure that out.
Figure out the outside, the external. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really, when you kind of know those, and that continues really through teens, of making sure that they have safe, what I found with my teens from 11 all the way up to now, it's really about balancing their worlds. So therefore they have safe areas to play, they try things out, but without too much risk. And you keep kind of a constant tab on them. How are you feeling about yourself?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. How do you feel most like yourself? That was always our question. My eldest went to school every once in a while. She'd try it and come back. And it was always, if she went to school, it was always every day. But when did you feel most, like, when did you not feel like yourself? When was the time that you didn't feel connected to you? When do you feel like yourself? When do you feel like the best version of yourself? Who do you want to be?
Yeah, that's really good. I ask similar questions to my daughter, actually. I basically just ask, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? How, so kind of get in there. And she always share, pretty much, yeah. So I'm just like hoping to keep that up, really, as she goes into, 13, 14, 15. Well,
yeah, because that's why all you're doing is creating the bridge. I mean, I've watched my teens go into stuff that I'm literally just going, are you serious? Why are we into this? Maybe they'll go into, a kind of movie that might have the kind an energy that I don't like, or they'll start reading books and I'm like, really, do we really have to go through this? Oh God. But I just kind of go, okay, well, how does it feel to you? And they know that that's their guidance system. It's not about following my guidance system.
No, they need to decide.
Yeah.
As long as it's sensible, I suppose. You wouldn't let them.
Of course.
It has to just be sensible. But yeah, if it's what they like.
Absolutely.
My daughter, she was kind of, I don't know, a little bit too much on YouTube now, and it was really harmless, just like rubbish, basically. And I just said, how does that? And I noticed she wanted to start snack more when she was watching these things. So I was like, it's interesting how trash wants to make you eat trash, right? And they were not even eating anything on there. So I noticed that this sort of dumb sort of kind of watching created more of an addictive patterning. I mean, really not very, honestly, it was really nipped in the bud. But I was like, interesting how that kind of sort of like engaging, just kind of like, I don't know, numb.
It's gray. It's funny. It's a funny thing because that's my kids and I would talk about. It's muddy. It's a gray space because it's not enlightening. It doesn't feel light. My son loves the word fluffy. He likes things fluffy. He's like light and fluffy. Let's keep it light and fluffy. So it's not light and fluffy. And then it's not really dark. It's not, it's just gray. It's just
gray.
and you kind of just go, there's nothing here,
and it's not challenging, as in like it's not stimulating.
No, exactly.
They're very intelligent. It's like, you're not really making the most of it, right?
The interesting thing, a little key that I found with my son was considering he hates being told what to do, we've often talked about how gray television or gray games or things that you do that feel that thing.
I'm going to start using gray.
Yeah, and it is, yeah, it's gray, but at the same time, it's designed to control you. It's designed to take over. So if you don't like being told what to do, don't take part in the gray, because you don't have a control over yourself. You kind of just go into a zone and you kind of just let your reality kind of take away. You don't have any energy. You don't have any input.
Yeah.
There's no attention. So it's really kind of thing. If you don't like being told what to do, which, you know, he really doesn't, but then don't let YouTube tell you what to do either. No. You know, take your claim of your own focus and of your own life.
Yes, exactly.
And he, you know, you build an awareness to it of going, wait, is this telling me what to do, or am I in control of this? Am I choosing?
Yes.
YouTube will show things.
Yeah, exactly.
Make your choices.
No, that's really good. I think that's really, really important, because especially now as well, because everyone's in more. Yeah. So there's maybe a tendency to more television, maybe a tendency to more your stimulation in some sort of way, shape or form. And I think it's really important. Yeah. So let's do some practical talking around, because obviously I work from home. So I have a little schedule going on with my husband. So we're doing that so that I can do some work, and he's doing work in the house. But you know, maybe we should talk a little bit practical. Working parents now from home, especially if you haven't done it before. Let's see if there's any questions on that. I don't think there was any questions. We'll see. Not yet. But yeah, let's talk about that actually. How it's better, especially if you're not used to working from home. What kind of responsibility can we put on our children? I mean, I was talking to a client of mine. I was saying, can you ask the children to help each other on certain things? Can they assist each other on something? Do you know what I mean? So like trying to manage, you have work, they have maybe some work they want, you know, you want to keep them occupied, not maybe just baking. There might be some things they need to do. Tell me what you think on this.
First of all, I like to anchor throughout the day. So we have our meals as the anchoring of the day, and we always have. Our meals are like rituals. So the breakfast, you know, we always have a long breakfast where everyone's sitting at the table. It's always lunch turns into everyone sitting around the table. We all have hot drinks together. We all dunk our biscuits together. And then the dinner is again a big, like that's where it's like anchoring the day.
Because food is grounding.
It is, exactly. And it's the best space to really lightly bring up conversations. They don't become big deals. It's not like I need to sit down and talk to you. It's like, so how's everybody doing with this, you know, whole thing? It flows really beautifully.
Good idea. Yeah.
So anchor throughout your meals. As far as work, absolutely set your kids up. This is it by all means. Spending time with your kids is not about quality. Quality time is not like I will play with my kids and be with them 100%.
Because you wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely not. And honestly, it's not setting your kids up for their own independence. They don't want it. You can have them set up, you know, coloring, drawing, artwork, get the toys. You know, my son loved Connects for like the longest time. So for ages, he would be building Connects right up beside me if he could, if I didn't need to concentrate too much. And then I'd take, you know, he'd go somewhere else and we'd kind of balance off. But there are things that kids can do: slime, sensory tables, water table, anything. Like, honestly, your 5-year-old, anything about exploration. You know, exploration. For your 11-year-old, reading, writing, a different, and I am not anti-tech. I will say, my kids have screens themselves. I am all for screen time, depending on the screen time. So, you know,
what they are doing on the screen.
Exactly. Use it as a tool. Like this is an opportunity again, to receive information. So there's amazing educational games. There's amazing educational channels. There are people who have made, I mean, my son is now on Minecraft, and as much as I've kind of gone, Minecraft, it still has an opportunity for creation, and he plays with his nephew and they connect online and he'll have play dates with other people. There's experiences that he can
There's
have
some
in that.
room for connection in
Yeah,
that way, and they
yeah,
can talk about their tactics and the strategy, and it's like left
exactly.
brain and all this. So I mean,
Exactly. And it's not really that violent. It's not like, like something like Fortnite, if there's any guns or anything like that, that's where I go, we talk about it. And he'll be the first one to say, oh God, I'm not doing that. No, because we understand, he's been raised to understand the emotional impact that everything he does has on himself. So he doesn't want to feel aggression. And he'll be the first one to say, oh, I'm getting stressed doing this.
feeling tight because
Feeling tight. I'll use that. Yes, exactly. Feeling tight, feeling like my head is loud. So then he shifts away from it and does something else.
Them awareness. So this is really a good time for parents. If you are a spiritual aware parent, or if you're just a parent watching, now, and you are maybe struggling even with this yourself, start the same thing with yourself. Start the same thing with your children. Do the same thing for yourself.
Exactly.
Because what is making your head big, or
exactly, yes,
making you feeling stressed? Stop that
and verbalize about it. Like be so honest and vulnerable with your kids. It is so healthy to say, oh, I have to step back from Facebook, or I've got to step back from that right now because it's making me feel really tight or really stressed out, or I've got to go meditate. I've got to go sit alone for 5 minutes. I've got to focus on my feet. I just need to go stand out in my garden. Acknowledge what you're doing, so your kids can make those connections with going, oh, even if, like, going back to when you said about going out and the whole virus word, you get back and you're like, well, I want to make sure I wash my hands, and I'm going to go ground and make sure that I energetically cleanse the experience as well. And so your son can go, oh, so that is a problem, but mom has solutions.
Yes, exactly. And this is what we do for this. And also, I suppose, you want to, even if you don't know, and if you don't have any tips or think, I mean, we're talking about a few good things here today, but ask someone.
Yes.
I mean, look, on social media, how many freebies can you get every day on stuff? Come on. Like, absolutely. Go into a group somewhere and ask for some advice. Ask people like Christina, ask people like myself. I'm not an expert in parenting, but I'm expert in energy. Ask us questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm literally in my group, the Spiritual Aware Parenting Community, every single day, going live, waiting to say, hey, I'm just talking in there. And if someone comes in and says, hey, what about this? I am more than happy to just break that down with you. Like I am. There has never been a time for light workers and healers and anyone who has any of these tools. We are more than happy to come forward with them because we're all in this together. Absolutely. And like we just said, we've never been in a pandemic before. No, we're all learning this as we go.
No, absolutely not. No, so that's really good with the grounding. I mean, the thing is, I use, I'm going to drop the links here underneath afterwards, but I actually use something called focused life force energy, which is a quantum
healing. Yeah. Okay.
That I have subscription to this house, and it's just amazing. The frequency of this home is very high, so there is much less gray. Much less gray. It's high frequency. There's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of it does help, obviously, that my husband and I are spiritually aware, but it's a good thing. So if anyone's interested in this, I'll drop the link. You can go and get the subscription for 14 days for free.
That's fantastic.
So I use this. What about, so some parents might be saying, oh, well, I meditate every day, I do these things, I can't do it now with my children, so maybe we should do it with them. What do you think?
To meditate with your kids?
My son won't do it, but my daughter will. But I just let him walk around me if I do it. I'm like, okay, if you want to join in, you can join in. If you don't want to join in, don't join in. It's
an interesting thing, because the thing is that the whole idea of meditation, often when you meditate, the idea is to allow energy to flow and ground. You're plugging in, right? You're plugging in to spirit. So
clearing on you. You should have just.
Yeah, it really is. You're allowing it in. And so often kids come into the picture and parents go, spike. push back, I won't be able to do it, right? And then you go, well, now you won't. Really, it's as simple as whether kids are in the room or not. If you let it in, you're going to let it in. And it doesn't need to be in any, it's not about the hows. It's just letting it happen.
Yeah.
Kids are actually, it's interesting. You can watch it with kids and with pets. I don't know if anyone's ever meditated with pets before, but honestly, I'll meditate. And we have 2 cats and a dog. And honestly, if I meditate, it's gotten to the point that our cat has actually gone and found me my yoga mat every morning. He'll sit beside it because he knows I get my yoga mat, I sit, and he will come and he'll sit on my lap. He loves the energy of me meditating.
Of course.
I don't make a, if I was like, oh my goodness, he's in the middle of my downward dog again, I would lose my flow. So he's allowed in the middle of my downward dog, whatever. It is what it is.
You can't see him. My cat is laying there on my massage table. She's right over there. I mean, people can't see this. I'm going to show them. They love it.
Yes. Oh, I swear, our cats with energy work, it's absolutely unbelievable. Look at that. They respond.
Look there.
Look at that. Oh, he looks like ours. It's so funny.
Honestly, she'll come and lay there and I'm healing. She'll be on my lap. She'll be everywhere. She'll be going like this at the door to come to the office. But
I'll be doing energy work down in my office and the cat will be like banging at the door because he knows it's happening and he just wants to be involved. It's like I can feel it in the house. Kids are the same. If you're meditating and you're grounded, they might come and sit and join you. When my kids were little, I used to have beads or something that they could just sit and do, something that would take their attention.
Yes.
But at the same time, beading turns into prayer beads. Something monotonous turns into something else, and they understand the space of meditation.
Yeah.
You are offering a gift if you do it in front of your kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's no can't.
I listen. So people that know me, they know I give away a free energy clearing. It's called the bioenergy clearing. It's one of my lead magnets kind of thing. Anyway,
fantastic. Yeah.
It's great. It's the bioenergy clearing. It clears it's really powerful healing. It's an hour long, too long for any child to listen to it. But me and my daughter listen to it before she goes to bed if she is tight. Guess what? She falls asleep within 20 minutes. Normally I do as well because I'm tired. The next day she is like a fairy. I mean, honestly. So although she hasn't participated consciously with it, because I'm asking people to connect to their chakras, I'm asking them to do things, she's kind of not doing it. She's just receiving the transmission.
Just receiving it. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And the more you do that, the more it becomes, they don't even realize that it's just such a part of them. My son, his cat would be out in Canadian wilderness and come back with all kinds of wounds and stuff. And my son got very used to kind of bringing the cat into his room, setting up theta energy music, doing energy healing on this cat. Wow. And he would it was like, that was what he did. He's caught stray animals and he's like, we were in Spain. We walked out of our apartment. We were world schooling in Spain. And we walked out of our apartment and there was this bird that was sitting on the sidewalk. And my husband picked it up and brought it up to my son and was like, he's probably going to want to try to heal this bird. And we're like, we're in this little apartment in Spain. We're like, okay, here we go. I was like, and we told the son, it's probably got a broken wing. It might pass. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's probably going to take like 2 weeks, to heal. Yeah. Walked in, my son was sitting there over the cage with his hands open. He had theta music playing and he was focused on it. He let it sleep that day. And the next day he went, okay, it's ready. It can go out. And we're like, honey, I really think it's going to need some time. Yeah. He's like, no, it's ready. And we took this bird out. He opened the cage. It flew away. And honestly, every night for 2 months following, the shadow of the bird would fly past my son's window. Absolutely. Kids understand it when they're around it. So don't, take the opportunity, even in lockdown, to just practice your plugging in.
Yes, practicing plugging in. And I think people that they may be spiritually aware and they may, practice some of it throughout their day. And, the kids go to school usually and this is just a new opportunity. Include them.
Yes.
Include them in everything.
Well, yeah. Sorry, there's an interesting story there that we tell. It's like their kids go to school and then they practice it, which really suggests, sorry guys, I can't be spiritual around you. Where your kids are on the other side saying, but I'm spirit. I'm just learning how to be human. What are you talking about? This is everything I am.
Yeah.
So there's a story there that's melting away, and it's being demanded to have it walk away. Like, what a gift that is, where literally spiritual energy is saying, okay, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
It's time just to be yourself.
Be yourself, and actually just say, allow yourself and say, well, it can work perfectly fine this way. Why not?
Yep. You might not have 20 minutes or an hour. There's a good chance you're not going to get,
Not the
but
same. But
no.
why can't we ask for like fast alignment? Like ask for it to be fast alignment. You know, we can go, right, I want it now. Can I have it now? Yeah, thank you. There we go. And instead of going, well, it's going to be, because I've heard some of the this is just people I know, you know, online and everything. We're talking, oh yeah, it can be hard. Things can get, you know, it's going to be a struggle, this and that. And then I'm like, well, why don't you just open up to the possibility that it's going to be easy?
Yes.
Why
Exactly.
don't we just say this is going to be easy? And this is easy. And why don't we allow ourselves to relax more around this whole thing? Because then it will be easy.
Yes.
And it will settle. There will be a new routine with things. There will be, you know, a new sort of land. The land will lay just in a different way.
It is. It's funny that you should mention that. The other day I was talking to, every Sunday I do group healing with my membership, and we were talking about it, and we said, there's a new norm that's going to be coming, and we are laying the fertile land for what's going to come up from that. We are like, focus on stability right now. Like, that's what I'm all about. Focus on balance, focus on grounding, focus on stability. But know that within that stability, new seeds are being planted. And what a beautiful seed to plant, to know that your kids are watching your spiritual awareness rather than receiving the story, it's hard, I have to be alone, it takes a long time. Kids know that it doesn't need to take a long time. They know that they can be in an imaginary world within an instant, and they're connecting to themselves. They get it. And they're looking at us saying, okay, so I have to unlearn what I came with and then relearn, when really I'm now, let me help you, Mom. You know, let's do this. Yeah, there's a depth that we are planting and sowing soon.
And I get the word I was getting the other day a lot. I even posted it on Facebook and stuff. I was like, the word I'm getting is just surrender anyway. Not I've surrendered, I'm fine, but like just surrender to what's happening, you know, enjoy it. Because the thing is, I always take people to the fact that they say, look, the day when you want to remember your life, and you know, you want to remember the great things that you did, you want to remember all the great ways that you handle things. And you know, oh, you were in a lockdown, oh my goodness, you like the other day I was dancing to house music with my children for an hour and a half. I was knackered, but I really loved it, because you know, it was really quite fun. I'm like, yeah, let's do this more. You know, that what they would remember. They're like, Mummy, I've never seen you like this. Because obviously I used to go dancing before they came.
Yeah, exactly. I know, you're like, really?
Like, I would dance with them. I would not dance with them, but you know, in that way. Yeah. They were like, yes, come on.
Well, that's just brilliant. That's fantastic. Yeah. And that type of surrender, that new, it's so magical what we can all experience right now. And surrender, it's funny, I just was doing a live all about that, about comparing it to the fact I was always a very nervous swimmer my entire life. I couldn't be in water. I really just would tense up. I had to be able to touch the bottom. And then when we were in Spain, I finally was like, well, I'm throwing this belief away. And I checked that belief and I started swimming in the deep end. And my son, who had just learned how to swim in Spain, was like, you just have to let go and trust the water. And I was like, oh. So then I tried doing that, and suddenly I fell in love with swimming. And I was like, this is exactly the same thing. Stop trying to touch the bottom. Stop trying to have control. Allow the water to hold you. It's okay. This is all carrying us down a current that is healthy and providing. So it's all going to flow well. Yeah, it's brilliant time. Yeah.
No, this is a magical time. So I'm going to say, I've just had a look there. There was no questions at the moment. I'm sure you will get questions later.
Don't worry.
Sometimes might be shy, and actually we've been talking about a lot of things, so I suppose people get some of their questions answered by just listening as well, perhaps.
Yeah.
So well, we're going to round it up. Is there anything you'd like to add to help anyone listening, something that came to you? If the whole, now this is a good one.
Yeah.
If the whole world was listening, every single parent in the world was listening right now, what would you tell them? You can
Connect with, okay. The
Don't
whole
think-
world, the whole world.
the whole parent, all the parents of the world, what would you tell them right now?
That your children are people struggling through this too, and that they are nervous, and you're building a relationship with them. So build the relationship. You do not need to be in charge. You do not need to be in control. You do not need to know what to do. Let it go. Surrender.
Yeah.
And in that, listen to your kids and just hug them tight and build that relationship, because this is going to change. If you build this relationship now with your kids and you connect with them emotionally, this is going to last your lifetime. Right. And forever. They will always remember this time.
To do the same.
Yes. And they will always remember this time. They will remember their parents who were courageous, who were brave, who were strong in a storm. You know, Bashar was talking about being the calm in the storm. You know, be the calm in the storm and just hold your kids. There's no academic race. And it's not even homeschooling that everyone's doing right now, because homeschoolers, like you said, hey, homeschoolers, we have classes, we go out, you know, there's a big difference. Yeah. So make history in your family and just connect and hold each other.
And connect, and no pressure on all these tasks.
No, not even, what's really funny, and someone pointed this out, not even pressure to improve yourself at this time. Don't give yourself pressure. You know, a lot of people are like, I can finally take that course. I can finally meditate. I can finally do all that self-care. It's like, no, please don't give yourself pressure for self-care. Please.
Self-care, no self-pressure.
No, just care for yourself. Love, appreciate. You know, self-care is looking out the window and appreciating the fact that you're breathing and alive, and that you can look out the window.
It's a pretty tree outside. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you. Look at the sky. Aren't we lucky? You know, it hasn't fallen in, and the ozone layer is improving.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It is my absolute pleasure. I have enjoyed this so much. It has been absolutely lovely.
Wonderful. I'm going to stop live streaming now. So thank you everybody for watching. And if anyone wants to get in contact with Christina, send her a message.
By all means. Yeah.
If anyone wants to get in contact with myself around energetic mastery, around your business, around anything, you know, your personal life, send me a message. I think that's it for today. I will be back with the show in a couple of weeks again. I think there's one more coming up. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.